Hi, I'm Wayne Hudson coming to you from the campus of the Home of Grace in Van Cleve, Mississippi. And today we have Corey Boler who's come to speak with us about a few things. Corey has an interesting job, as I've said before, at the Home of Grace. And I'd like for him to tell us about it, how he came to work here and how he conducts his responsibilities. Corey, thank you for coming up.
Glad to be here. I'm the disciplinary counselor here. I'm the guy you see if you get in trouble, but that's not all that I have responsibility for. In fact, the job has morphed into more than what it was to begin with. Mm-hmm. Being a disciplinary counselor, you have to deal with a lot of attitudes of guys, a lot of problems. Most of my day is conflict resolution. Mm-hmm. Okay, most of my day is dealing with conflict, and the funny thing about it is I didn't know this about myself, but I love conflict.
There are probably a lot of other people that could have told you that before you figured it out.
Well, I love it, situations don't bother me that would normally bother a person. I can say things directly that most people can't say, and it doesn't bother me. And so that's what makes me effective. Not only that, but I'm anointed by God, and so I love on these men. I love them with all my heart, and I understand them because I was in their shoes.
It's really tough love, isn't it?
It is. Most of the time.
And sometimes it's tough to love.
Yes, it is. I was a security guard out here. I was working the staff on duty positions. I was with the guys from 3 in the afternoon to 11 at night, Monday through Friday. But I handled the guys the same way that I do today, and I guess that somebody noticed how the guys responded to me, and they asked me to come work over here as first it was intake. I did intake and kind of oriented myself with working days over here at the Home of Grace. And then we made the position of disciplinary counselor. I've got some experience with counseling, and I've got some experience with discipline. All right, I was in the Marine Corps, and they instilled some discipline in me that I still hold to this day. And I've learned a couple things over the past 3.5 years. So it makes me very effective with the guys. All right, they relate to me, and I relate to them, and they can understand what I'm saying. But I had to learn. It wasn't always as easy as it is now. I used to handle them a little bit more aggressively, and that wasn't always the best thing. God gave me a gift, but He also had to teach me a balance of when to be too hard, when not to be too soft, and gave me a balance of how to handle certain situations in different ways. And now my job, I love it. I love coming up here every day. In fact, sometimes I come up here on the weekends just because I miss it. And I love seeing what God's doing in these men's lives most of all. If it's through His work in me or somebody else in this ministry, that's what I'm here for, is to see God change a man's life forever. And we wouldn't have to worry about drugs and alcohol anymore if God enters a man's heart genuinely. Right.
And again, totally surrender to God. One who is totally surrendered to God, all of a sudden the things that seem huge just seem to vanish into midair, and they're not as important.
Yes, sir. I love doing what I do, and if they call me to do something else, if God moves me on to something else, I'll do it. But as for right now, I love my job at the Home of Grace, and it comes with. I do the music at the Home of Grace. I sing with these guys. I try to be a mentor. And live the right way that the Home of Grace instills in the men to live. I try to live that in front of them every day. So that, I think that's more important than me disciplining them.
Now let me get this straight. Home Grace pays you to do this, and you don't pay them to
Right.
let you do it.
Right.
Sounds
That's right.
like you have the perfect job
I do.
for you. And we have to dismiss some men. Is that easy for you?
No, sir. It is not. When I first started doing this job, Kent Lassiter told me, I was in my office and there was 4 people that I had to dismiss in one day because some things got brought on campus and people was, weren't strong enough to give it. They gave in to temptation. And I had grown fond of all 4 of them, and I had spent some time with them, invested myself in these guys, and I was sitting in my office and I was crying. Kent Lassiter came in there and he told me, he said, you can't let this stuff eat at you. He said, you're going to have to leave it at the gate when you leave. He said, give it to God. He said, it'll be here tomorrow when you get here. And since then I've tried. Sometimes I have and sometimes I haven't. But most of the time at night before I go to bed, if something happens with one of these guys, I'm going to think about them before I go to bed. And if you let that stuff eat at you too much, it'll take your marriage and everything else down. So I do my best to give everything to God because I know it's in His hands anyway. And so it does bother me, but men make the choices.
It's part of the job, right?
It is for the job.
It's part of the job, and not just that, but if you're called to do what you do, and I believe that with everything within me that you are, then you have a responsibility to God.
Yes, sir.
But you also have a responsibility to the other men who are not having discipline issues to maintain order, right?
Yes, sir. To keep them safe.
Yes. Thank you, Corey, for coming up, being a part of our program here at A Cup of Grace, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, sir.
And folks back home, thank you for coming and having hopefully a cup of coffee or something, a cup of tea, and enjoying your time with a cup of grace. And I'm Wayne Hudson. We'll see you next time.